Yes, welcome back to the channel. Football is finally back. Another painful international break is out of the way. It's the last one of the season. Now we're in the running. FA Cup, Champions League and Premier League all to play this month. I've been away for a couple of weeks, but we're back in the UK. And Terry, as you've probably seen over his social media, has been away as well, getting a lot of things done. How's things, mate?
Good. I will on the football terrace be going through my journey, my hair journey, my latest hair journey. In terms of I've had a transplant. It's very obvious when people. The haircut looks awful actually when you see it in real time. It's just some weird thing, but it looks all right on camera because they've done the side. They've left the hair on top, which was good. But it was a nice time in Turkey. I had a great time over there and did a few bits and pieces. I kind of managed to merge. Bit of work, bit of pleasure. I saw some friends over the space of a week there, which was really nice, mate. But how was the honeymoon, more importantly?
Insane. Yeah. Absolutely insane. Drove from California all the way through Death Valley to Vegas. Lost quite a lot of money in Vegas, as you can probably imagine. And it's the most corrupt thing, some of them casinos. But yeah, California was absolutely insane. It really, really was. Saw the Lakers play, went down to Venice Beach, did a rodeo drive. Yeah, it was absolutely insane. Did the Grand Canyon in Vegas. But football is back. We're both back. FA Cup is back. Make sure you go down and drop a like. Subscribe to both channels. I want to start with Chelsea. Quite a lot of news. Fabrizio Romano's tweeted in the last hour. Enzo Fernandez will be left out of the next 2 games by Chelsea after recent quotes on his future being heavily linked to Real Madrid. We'll get onto the Cucurella stuff shortly. Do you think this is the right response from Rosinha and Chelsea to suspend him? Or do you think, if it's kind of more bad news? Because look, he's probably one of their best performers this season. He's been one of the best performers in recent years. I mean, what do you kind of make of him getting suspended?
I think it's correct because, look, there'll be some Chelsea fans out there that will try and do damage control, maybe even some Chelsea journalists, but I haven't seen a lot of it. You can tell he's pissed the club off because the club are not protecting him. And let's call a spade here. When he was caught singing racist songs, the club backed him. They protected their player at the very least. Back him, maybe some will say that's strong, but they protected their player. He talks about leaving and about wanting to be at Real Madrid, and he gets dropped. The sickening part of this is that this shouldn't be seen as a worse violation, but it is by football clubs. And by the way, I'm not singling out Chelsea because I think the majority of our clubs would do exactly the same thing. We've seen it for many, many, many a year. But it is the right thing for them to do in the context of this. The man has been out there. Listen, you've just had your honeymoon, okay? And if Mrs. Wright is watching, I mean this with all due respect. If you're out there on streams today talking about how you'd love to work, live with this lady, date that lady, do this to that lady. You're in trouble. You are on the sofa, bare minimum. So it's the same difference for me. I know it's an analogy. I know it's a bit of fun, but he's out there talking about Madrid for 2 weeks. He's literally been lifting his skirt and going, oi, oi. Who wants, you know what I mean? Who wants, oi, oi. That's what he's been doing. You know what I mean? He's been flaunting it, and they're absolutely right to do it. But the timing from him, the comments from Cucurella, the implosion of their season, the battering with PSG, they're in a really bad space right now. And the only way through this really is by Blueco changing how they operate. They need to buy more experienced players. They need to change Liam Rosinha still, in my opinion, and bring in the best manager possible. Because I don't think this is going to stop. Next season, this will happen again, but it will likely be with a slightly different group of players. But the same scenario is going to happen again, no doubt in my mind.
I mean, I think I've missed part of what Cucurella said. It happened while I was away. I mean, my understanding is he basically has said that the board need to buy more experienced, better players, which a lot of rival fans have been saying for a while. When you look at that and the Enzo Fernandez stuff, and then you look at the Chelsea fixtures they've got coming up, Man City, United, Brighton, Forest, Liverpool and Spurs. That's not an easy game. And if they don't bounce back and immediately beat Port Vale, I mean, can you actually believe that rivals are actually thinking Port Vale can go to the bridge and beat them?
Yeah, look, I don't see that happening. Port Vale will lose. Chelsea are too good for that, in my humble opinion. However, you look at those next 4 league games, 5 league games when you include Liverpool. Spurs they're going to beat. They always beat Spurs. I think Chelsea could put out their academy team and beat Spurs. It just seems to, at the Bridge anyway, it's just one of those games. But it's those league games coming up. And there are bigger ramifications here, which, again, I've seen the Simon Jordans of this world play down, and I think they're being disingenuous. Chelsea were, up until last season, so the season of 2 seasons ago, they made a profit, but it was a Fugazi profit. It's because they sold their own assets to their sister companies. UEFA rejected this. So they made a loss with the UEFA, profit with the Premier League. A season later with no Champions League football, that's all just come out now, the 24-25 season. They've made 242 million pounds worth of losses because they couldn't sell any more assets. This year, they're going to have record revenue. And it will, this time next year, when all those results come out, it will be banded around as, wow, look at us, get the confetti out, we're back. The problem is that money is majority made up with Club World Cup money and being in the Champions League. That record revenue and the profits that might come with it is because of those 2 tournaments, but especially the Club World Cup, sorry. As we go into next season, if they don't qualify for this Champions League, they're in financial trouble. And what I mean by that is the difference between finishing in the top 4 and finishing, say, 6th, you are looking at between 20 to 30 million pound difference in potential in prize money. Then you've got the Champions League money, which is a lot, which is 60, 70 million pound. And then there's no 100 million from the Club World Cup. So no Champions League qualification means next season, the drop-off in finances for Chelsea is huge. You're talking 150 to 200 million pounds revenue. Now, there's expenditure that comes with that. So it isn't a complete loss because they may not spend as much, but they need to be going out and buying some of the best players in the world. And you actually look at them over the last 3 to 4 years, there's been so many seasons with losses that UEFA recognize. And if they keep having these losses, they're going to get hit with more fines and more punishments. So they've got loads of plates spinning at the minute. And the only way they were ever going to get through this was by continual Champions League qualification and participation. And that looks like it won't happen. Players are looking to leave. Players are kicking off about the way the club's being run. The manager's inexperienced. Let's call it for what it is. Chelsea are at risk here they're at risk of a big collapse. Not just in terms of this season, but in terms of ever getting back to challenging regularly for Premier League titles. And let's not forget, and I know this too well because I'm a United fan, it's been almost a decade since Chelsea challenged for a Premier League title. And to put that into context, Arsenal, yes, have gone 22 years, without winning one. But they were challenging for titles in many of those years.
Yeah.
So they didn't go 22 years without challenging. It's a decade without being in a title race. That is not good enough for a club of Chelsea's stature. Same as my club. I'm not pointing fingers here. We're an embarrassment because we haven't challenged for a league title in 13 years. Those guys, they're moving towards 10. It's far too long. And if Blueco don't change, they're done. They're done.
Do you think they will get top 4 this season? Because Aston Villa are going to have, is it McGinn and Yuri Tillemans back, which are 2 massive players for them. They'll be back in the next I think they're both back within the next week to 2 weeks, which very important for Villa in the running. Man United at the moment, 1 game a week, 7 points clear of Chelsea. Liverpool have just lost Alisson, which we'll touch on Liverpool in a few minutes. But I don't think they will get top 4. And if you put that in with what you said about the financial, disarray that they're currently going to be in, if they don't get top 4, I mean, it's only a matter of time for them if Caicedo, Palmer, Enzo Fernandez look at leaving because of no Champions League football, not signing big players, not signing a big manager. I mean, it really is, this next 3 or 4 weeks for Chelsea, it really is make or break, isn't it?
It's huge. And in fairness, 5-6 weeks ago, I was saying I thought they would make it into the top 5 with Man United and Villa, and I thought Liverpool would drop out. Liverpool have been poor. I just didn't think Chelsea would be this bad. I didn't think Chelsea would have this big a fall off And it is a big, let's just call it out. It is a massive fall off. And they look in disarray. The way their players are kicking off, they could miss out. And the only saving grace for Liverpool and or Chelsea this year is that top 5 will get Champions League football. There's been, I think it works out that one more team left in Europe, including Conference Europa League. There needs to be one draw in one of the legs of the next round. So if Arsenal win one game, if Forest draw a match, it's a guarantee it's top 5 for the Champions League. So one of them is going to get away with it. But it's a little bit of a scrap off between those two. I think Villa will turn their form around a little bit towards the end of the season. I think they'll make it. As of right now, my mind's changed on that. Man United, I know we're not talking too much about them today, but I think we're going to win our next couple of games. I actually think we'll beat Leeds, and then I'm really confident we can go to the Bridge and get a result as well. And I think if we do win our next 2 games, I think it's all but done.
Yeah, I do as well. We'll come to the City and Arsenal topics very shortly. Liverpool, Alisson's out for the rest of the season. They go in tomorrow. Massive game after losing to Brighton in the last Premier League game. Of course, they are through to the next round of the Champions League. What do you kind of make of the FA Cup game tomorrow? Do you think that City, because they're in such high spirits because they won that League Cup, O'Reilly with a brace, going to international breaks, some of their players have performed on the international level. Is it inevitable that City win this FA Cup game, or do you think even with Alisson out, Liverpool could still be a threat?
Saw a really mad stat. It was well worded to make it sound like they've not lost a game in the FA Cup since 2018. But they've only lost, I believe, City since 2018. They've only lost at neutral grounds. So they've lost finals and semi-finals, but they haven't lost home or away in any round since 2018. It's a pretty formidable record. The backdrop of Pep is so intriguing for me. I think he's going to leave. I think he's already decided to leave. But I just don't think they want to make it. I don't think they want to. Almost don't think they want to make it like a permanent thing. Does that make sense? Or a public thing right now? Not a permanent thing, but a public thing right now. Liverpool, on the other hand, I don't think they're in too dissimilar position to Chelsea from a managerial structural perspective. I don't think they're in the same financial difficulties. I don't think they have a great plan right now. It looks like Hughes and Edwards are going to go. They've said via Ornstein they're going to stick with what Slot's trying to build, which means they're going away from what made them successful for 10 years. I find that to be ludicrous beyond belief. Ludicrous. Because it is not the way top clubs operate in the modern day era. You can't keep changing your style based on a manager. You have to stick to a certain direction and you bring the right coaches in. I think it's horrendous. So I look at a City and a Liverpool team right now that are still both still very good teams. They've got very good players, but I feel there's a bit of turmoil, a little bit of a little bit of what does the future have in store for us? And it's a little bit of anybody's game. Will this? I honestly am sitting on the fence on this one. I'm getting a lot of splinters up my jacksie because I can't call it, but I'm going to slightly favour City because they're at home. I'm going to slightly favour City, but I almost feel like both teams, I know they want to win the FA Cup. Liverpool will want to win the Champions League, but I almost feel like there's this weird inevitability that they know that they're probably not going to do it, especially Liverpool, because they just don't defend and play well enough, regularly enough, because of how Slot sets them up. And I think their players have checked out. I think City players are a couple of games away from checking out for the rest of the season as well. I don't think they're in a good headspace either. But Pep's sort of indecision and not telling everybody what he wants to do, I think that plays a part as well. I don't think it's going to be a great... Actually, that's a lie. I don't think it'll be a high-quality game. I think there's going to be a lot of defensive mistakes, but I think it'll be a really entertaining game. Does that make sense? But I'm going to go over 3-2 City win.
No, I definitely agree it would be an entertaining game from a neutral perspective. With City, it kind of feels like... Look, I think they'll win because as you said, their record's very, very good at home. Liverpool at the moment aren't in particularly great form. If you take out the cup final, neither team's in particularly great form. Do you think the kickoff time is a bit of a strange one? I mean, 12:45 for an FA Cup quarterfinal is a bit. I mean, I don't really agree. I don't really think the kickoff time is going to be a factor in it, but I don't really like it either. If that makes sense.
Yeah, look, as a
that for
Christian,
me is a bigger game than the Arsenal Southampton game. So why is the Arsenal game at 8 o'clock?
No, I understand. Like as a Christian man, I'm kind of happy that I've got Sunday free. I'm actually quite enjoying the fact that I'll get to do what I like to do on Sunday. I know there is the West Ham Leeds game, but I don't cover that, so I get my Sunday back. So I'm kind of grateful they've put the 3-4 big teams on the Saturday, but the 12:45 kickoff is a little strange because for me, I would have done Southampton Arsenal first. Yeah. And then I would have done the Chelsea game and then built up but this is the FA Cup for you. They don't know. Do you know what you'll probably find? Actually, do you know what I think it is? Do you know what I think it is? It's Easter weekend. And as much as this pains me to say it, it's the reality. Britain's Got Talent is on television. There's all sorts of things going on. And the biggest game of the weekend for the Emirates FA Cup, they almost don't want it competing with anything else. It's a case of we can't put it on when Britain's Got Talent is on. A lot of people are off work this weekend. A lot of people have got family together. We need to get as many eyes on it as possible. And they probably find Arsenal fans will watch the Arsenal game. Some neutrals will watch it. But everybody wants to watch the City Liverpool game. But if it's on at 8 o'clock in the evening, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of family people that are going to go, hang on, no. We're going to sit down and have dinner. BGT's on. We've got people coming round. That's why they've done it. And the Emirates FA Cup is, I hate saying it, makes you feel sick. It is dying. And it's dying a slow death because people are just not as interested in it anymore. I don't understand it. I get a buzz every time I see the word FA Cup. I'm like, oh, yes. I love the thought of Port Vale maybe. But like, I would watch the Chelsea Port Vale game, no matter what's going on, just in the hope Port Vale win. Not to dunk on Chelsea, nothing petty, but to witness that. Like witnessing that history when there's a shock, for me, is beautiful. But it just seems to have lost its vim in the world. And I don't know how they bring it back, but that's why they've done it, I think. I would have put it on later personally, but I do get why they've done it.
I think the only way you bring it back is if the prize money goes up. Because you only get £1 million. Is it £1 million or £2 million to win it? Whereas you get £2 million for each home win in the Champions League. Which, to put it into perspective, it's like it's a no-brainer for a lot of these football clubs to prioritise the Champions League. I mean, West Ham and Leeds. I mean, that game's. I much would rather the Chelsea game be the early kickoff and have 2 on the Sunday and have the Man City Liverpool at 8 o'clock. But I do think City will win. I think Alisson being out is, Mamadashvili being in goal is a bit of a miss for them. City are on a bit of a, I would say, high spirits after that cup win. O'Reilly performed really, really well. You go into this game, if Liverpool don't win, which I don't think they will, I actually think they'll lose to PSG as well quite comfortably. And I do agree with what you're saying. I think a lot of their players will check out. The other FA Cup game, Arsenal travel down to Southampton. It's been quite a couple of difficult weeks for them, losing the League Cup final to Man City, Guardiola getting another one over Arteta. Do you think it's inevitable that Arsenal go out, play a strong team and bounce back? Or do you think this could be a potential banana skin, another slip up for them?
No, I don't think they'll lose to Southampton, personally. I think they'll go relatively strong. But then they have the game against Sporting in the week, and then they play Bournemouth. And I actually think Bournemouth is the most important game in the next 7 days for them, because there is that element of I think if they win their next 3 league games, they're guaranteed to win the league, because one of them is going to be against City. In fact, I think if they beat Bournemouth and then I think they play City after that, they beat Bournemouth and then don't lose to City, I think they've pretty much won the league. And I'm not suggesting they should deprioritize the FA Cup in comparison to the Champions League and the Premier League, because you have to. And maybe saying deprioritize and focus more on them, people look at that as disrespectful. But that's how you try and win multiple trophies. You can't put your strongest team into all the games. Otherwise, there's no rotation. And you have to try and rotate. So you'll probably find 3 or 4 of the fringe-esque players start the game. I wouldn't mind, though, seeing someone like a Max Dowman start this game, as an example, as someone exciting along those lines. But I do think you'll see 5 or 6 players start this game against Southampton that don't necessarily start against Sporting or Bournemouth the following week. But that's the exact thing to do. But I still think Arsenal will go through. I think they'll bounce back. It's what they've done all season. Every defeat invariably, or every draw even, has invariably been met with 3, 4, 5 plus wins on the bounce. And if they can echo that, Arsenal, they'll be in the semi-final of the FA Cup, the semi-final of the Champions League, and they'll have practically won that. That's the mad bit about the next 4 or 5 games after a loss. If they can repeat that win streak after their other losses this season, they're in 2 semi-finals and practically champions of England.
What do you kind of make of the whole Arteta's faking injuries? They should be fined as a football club. They should be suspended. You know, Alex Ferguson, a number of times throughout his managerial career, commented on how much he disliked the March international break, right? Gary Neville has said that from a player's perspective, playing under Ferguson. Ferguson used to pull out a couple of players here or there, 3 or 4 players. But because Arsenal have pulled out a number of players and the reaction online is, you know, Arteta they're lying about injuries. To give some perspective, Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka, Zubimendi, Nkapie, Noni Madueke, Leandro Trossard, Gabriel, Everett Jeze, Saliba, Timber, have all been pulled out of the international break. People are saying it's a disgrace if those players then go and play against Southampton. You know, what do you think this is just another stick to beat Arsenal with from the media, or do you actually think this is wrong for Arteta to pull out that amount of players from the international break? Looking at the amount of other managers, Jose, Arsene Wenger, and Alex Ferguson, Jurgen Klopp, that have been renowned for pulling out players in the March international break.
It is nothing short of sour grapes. It is absolute nonsense. It is absolute hypocrisy. And it's about trying to delegitimize what Arsenal are potentially going to achieve. That's all this is. It's so clear. It's so obvious. It is so transparent because it's what football fans do. And the mainstream media, unfortunately, have become football fans. They're no longer impartial. They're very rarely unbiased. They're very rarely objective. It's all about how can we create clips to earn that Elon coin? What group of people are we going to sucker up to? And at the moment, it's still fashionable for the media to go, let's stick it on Arsenal. I've seen the media alongside City fans this last week go, we never did this. We never did this. Yet there are countless articles showing the amount of City players that have pulled out of international games in tight title race periods and seasons. The England stuff in itself, though, is so disgusting because the reason those players stepped away is because there was a 35-man squad and the priority for Tuchel was to play the fringe players to see if anyone could fight out and scrap for a place. So the Sakas and the Rices, the Harry Kanes of this world, they were barely going to feature anyway. In fact, they just shouldn't have called them up. It shouldn't have been a 35-man squad. It should have been a 25-man squad. And the 10-odd players that are definitely going to the World Cup, barring injury, touching wood, should have just been given a rest anyway. And it would have stopped this from happening. It's absolutely farcical the way they've gone on about it. Now, I've seen Man United fans join in. Shame on you. And the reason I say shame on you to Man United fans is one of the reasons I got involved in football fan content was to defend my football club. Sometimes it was to criticize my club. Sometimes it was to push a message of what I want my club to do, hoping through some miraculous way they would hear it. And people like myself, along with the pioneers of this industry, have created a world. And one of my biggest bugbears are the new upcoming content creators who really look down their nose at the people that have given them a fucking job and career in the first place. It's like, how dare you? Just how dare you? I feel like Wiley, do you know what I mean? It's like, what is young? It's like, how dare you? But anyway, that's another conversation for another day. What I find frustrating about Man United fans is that you start trying to delegitimize Arsenal winning the league, and one of the reasons is pull players out international duty. You are going to set a precedent that will then be used against Sir Alex Ferguson in conversations for years to come. It's not about Arsenal only. Think about the standards you set and how they could be used against other things that you believe. And I had this conversation yesterday with Liverpool fans. So Laura Kirk and I filmed a little bit of content. and she picked Rice over Gerrard. We did a thing of now and then. England players from the past versus players now. Which one would you keep in the squad? And Laura picked Rice over Gerrard. Now, I personally wouldn't have done that, but she did. I quote tweeted it with, like the laughing emojis where the eyes are tight shut. Clearly means one knows you're joking, right? And I said, well, Rice over Gerrard will be proven this season. The amount of Liverpool fans who've responded with pictures of like Harvey Elliott holding a league title saying this means Harvey Elliott's better than Bruno Fernandes. And they've always done that when it comes to the Scholes-Gerrard debate. League titles. You're saying Luke Chadwick's better than Gerrard because he's got a Prem title. They go to the extremities. But this is where everybody lets themselves down. And I'm talking to Man United fans doing the same thing here. So I went through the last couple of days on socials. And it's so beautiful to see, Henry, this is. So in all the big debates I saw between all the big people on X, between Salah and Henry, what was the decisive factor they were using to put Salah above Henry? Goals and everything else are pretty similar per games played. What did they use? More league trophies, won a Champions League, won more things. So in the Salah-Henry debate, the deciding factor was trophies. A few years back when Graham Souness, who was an elite footballer in his day, I'm not denying it, said to Pogba, put your medals on the table. Medals. Every Liverpool fan known to man went, we've done you here, Pogba. We've done you here, Pogba. Yet if you turn around for a second and say, Gerrard, put your 8 winners' medals on the table next to Paul Scholes. No. But the teams were different. The context. There's this scenario where there's a lot of that kind of goes that kind of goes on. Now, from my point of view and perspective, I then with the Gerrard one, they then turn around and go, yeah, but look what he did in Ballon d'Or voting. He's Ballon d'Or nomination voting, right? Okay, compared to Scholes. All right. So then when I tweeted a journalist yesterday that said England have never had the best player in the world ever in their squad, I said, well, we had Sir Bobby Charlton. And I might get these dates slightly wrong here, but he was nominated for the Ballon d'Or 5-6 times between 1962 and 1971. He won it in 1966 and was runner-up the following 2 years. For me, I'm just pointing this out, like at some point in that period, England had the best player in the world, and he was truly the best player in the world. But yet they went, but you can't count those Ballon d'Or nominations because it was a smaller pot. Not every country could. So now there's context as to why that Ballon d'Or in that argument can't be used. And the reason I bring this example up is I just think you lose every debate if you're always moving the goalpost to put your person on top. Sometimes you've got to lose a battle to win a war in these debates. And this is if you want to discredit Arsenal, find a reason that isn't. If you're going to find a reason, if that's your motivation, I think it's stupid. I think it's childish. But if you want to do it, don't pick ones that will then be used to dismantle your own club's legacies, because it will be. And I said this to people a few weeks ago. There was another thing with United. What was it about? It's left my mind now, Henry. And I was talking about it online, and I said to people they'll use it against Sir Alex. And it was something to do with the spending or whatever it was. And then everyone's like, no, Terry, no one's even going to think of that. And then there was all these. I'll tell you who it was. It was when they were saying you can't have X amount of players in team of the year or something like this. And then I pointed out that the amount of players that have been in teams of the year that hadn't won league titles in the past. Scholesy called it out and just said, well, you can't really be considered good champions if you don't have anyone in the team of the year. And then we went through multiple Man United league title winners where we barely had anybody in team of the year to show there's no correlation, right? And it's like I said at the time, people will then use that to discredit United's champions and how good they were because we didn't have people in player of the year. So don't die on that hill just to shit on somebody online for a bit of Elon coin. It's going to hurt your own club, especially as the mainstream media are now acting like fans and pushing lies all the time. So, yeah, no, it's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy. Arsenal have done nothing wrong. In fact, I think they've done the right thing, and I would want Man United to do exactly the same thing, you know?
Have you seen that? So Stan Sports Football, I don't know who this account is. They got nearly 300,000 followers. Arteta, there's a training video that's gone out early hours this morning, and it's all their injured players training, and it's like he knows he's boiling piss by doing that. You know, Eberechi Eze, Saka, Noni Madueke, Timber, Declan Rice, all these players of Mendy that have been pulled out of the international break because of, you know, England are trialing fringe players. I didn't see anyone, say Bayern Munich are a disgrace, by the way, for pulling out Harry Kane. Just saying.
Because
and the fact that, going back to what you're saying about, England haven't got the best player in the world right now. I'd argue Harry Kane at this moment in time is the best player in Europe. And I think there's a solid argument in there. So, like, maybe it might change by the summer, but right now he's absolutely on fire. But with this Arsenal video, the comments, mate, are absolutely insane. Arsenal are a disgrace. I'll send it to you after this. But, yeah, they're just boiling piss. Last subject I want to finish on before we wrap up, to know time is of the essence. Roberto De Zerbi. So yesterday, he publicly apologised to the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust and apologised to a lot of the Spurs fans because they were unhappy on his comments he made on Mason Greenwood. I don't actually know what he said about Mason Greenwood. That's a story for another day. How do you think he's going to get on? We've got only 3 games this month. Sunderland away, Brighton at home, and Wolves away. Now, notoriously, in his career, it takes him a little while to get up to speed and to start winning games. He didn't win his first 5 when he took over at Brighton. However, he did get Brighton to the Europa League and recorded their highest ever Premier League finish. Axed from Marseille in January or February because they didn't do well in the Champions League. Sunderland away isn't an easy place to go to. They've just beaten Newcastle away at St James's Park and done a double over them. And we've got a few players back. We should have Kudus back in a couple of weeks. We should have Benton Call back. How do you kind of see this appointment? I mean, again, £15 million is an awful lot to play a manager, but do you think it'll keep us up?
I'm not one for being a reductionist. It's not really my style, but I'm going to boil this down to one simple statement. If you lose to Sunderland, you go down. If you beat them, you stay up. And to open that up, I think if you lose to Sunderland, the division that's there, because some of your fans didn't want him, for multiple reasons. I think some feel the style might not work, the players might not be ready. He is quite a fiery personality that falls out with a lot of people. There's, of course, the Mason Greenwood element, which I understand. I didn't want Mason Greenwood at Man United anymore. I'm very, very glad that we got rid of him. So I understand people's frustration with that 100%. If you lose that game, it's going to have the same deflating feeling you had after your Palace at home defeat. I think with Tudor losing to Arsenal, there was an element of it's Arsenal, it's the Emirates, you nearly always lose there. Well, no, was it White Hart Lane?
Yeah, so we lost at Palace, at home to Palace and Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, your first game was against Arsenal. Who's it against? Home or away? For Tudor? Away. So you kind of always lose there, right? So I think there was that element of, okay, let's go to the next game. And then the next game you lost and it was just deflating. If you lose the first game to Southampton, and especially if Sunderland, if there are mistakes, so for instance, the playing out from the back starts, and you can see 2 goals in the press because you can't pass out from the back. All that division and all that annoyance that from groups that De Zerbi's there will hype up to another level. It'll be like petrol over a fire. And I think any hope will just dissipate. Where if you play quite well and you win, this is what football fans, even that are disappointed, will do, because we are all fickle as hell. You go, oh, this is exciting, and you suddenly start to forget things, and I think you'll then be okay. De Zerbi is such an interesting appointment. I think he's a very good coach. I'm not sure if he's ready for an elite job at this point, and I think Spurs is in a very good stepping stone for him in his career, because it will be a stepping stone. If he does a great job at Tottenham, a Man City, a Madrid, a Man United, somebody will eventually take him. But I think he needs this step. At the same time, there is talk that it can take 6 months to integrate his football and make it work. And if he loses his couple of his first games because it isn't working, you're probably going to go down. So your rebuild might be in the Championship. So I don't think medium term is a bad appointment from a footballing perspective. Short term, I'm putting it down to the Sunderland game. You win that, you stay up. You lose it, bon voyage.
Yeah, bearing in mind we've still got to play Aston Villa away and Chelsea away. Write those 2 games off. Aston Villa will beat us because they have their players back then, and we never beat Chelsea. Leeds is now a Monday night kickoff at home on the 11th of May, which is absolutely huge for the relegation battle. Wolves away. We haven't beaten Wolves in our last 6 games.
Damn.
I think Brighton, we got a draw 2-2 away at the Amex this season. Last season, I think we beat them and they beat us. And Everton, by then, they'll be on the beach. So for me, if we beat Leeds, Sunderland and Everton, we stay up. But like you said, it could go very, very, very quickly change and go either way. What sort of content you got coming out over the weekend?
So tomorrow, Saturday, will be match reactions on the Football Terrace, which I'm excited about. Sunday, I have no idea. Maybe a little bit, but not too much because it's Easter Sunday. And then Monday, really, will start gearing up for the Champions League and the return of the Premier League as well. I will be releasing some content if anyone is interested. So I know a lot of men watch our content. I will be releasing stuff over the weekend, all to do with my latest hair transplant, where I went, how I found them, why I'm doing it with them, because I know it's a story that a lot of people are interested in. I get a lot of DMs about it in the past. So if you are interested, keep an eye out for that. I'm really excited to show that to you all because it's something I'm quite passionate about because I think it feeds very, very importantly into a lot to do with men's mental health, which is a key factor. So yes, I look forward to releasing that. So if anyone's interested, go and check that out as well.
Yeah, go and follow the journey. Make sure you drop a like, make sure you hit that subscribe button on your way out, and we'll see you over the weekend at some point. We're out.